The empty hall echoed with Taiwan's slow footsteps. He walked toward the large meeting room where his fate would be decided. His hands were steady, but his heart beat fast in his chest. "Lieutenant Kim, please come in," said a stern voice. Taiwan entered the room and saw 5 people sitting at a long table. In the middle sat Director Kang, a man with gray hair and tired eyes. Next to him was Captain Hana, her face showing no emotion. 3 other officials looked at papers in front of them. "Do you know why you are here?" asked Director Kang. "No, sir," Taiwan replied. He stood straight, hands behind his back. The large screen on the wall lit up. It showed a huge crystal-like object floating in space. It shimmered with blue and purple light. It was beautiful and scary at the same time. "This is the Morkoth," said Director Kang. "We found it 3 years ago at the edge of our solar system." Taiwan had heard stories about the strange alien. Everyone in the space program knew about it. 7 ships had tried to make contact. 4 ships had been lost. No one knew what happened to the crews. "We have tried everything," said Captain Hana. "Math signals, light patterns, radio waves. Nothing works. It either ignores us or—" She did not finish her sentence. Taiwan looked closer at the image. The crystal being was massive, at least 5 times bigger than the largest Earth ship. "Why am I here?" he asked. Director Kang pushed a folder across the table. "Your work with the Sylvan hive mind was impressive. You found a way to talk to them when no one else could." Taiwan nodded. The Sylvans were insect-like aliens who shared one brain. It had taken him months to understand that they communicated through tiny movements, not sounds or light. "We want you to try with the Morkoth," said Director Kang. The room went quiet. Taiwan felt all eyes on him. "The last team," he started. "4 good people," said Captain Hana. Her voice was hard. "We lost contact after they got within 10 miles of the creature." Taiwan looked again at the screen. Something about the way the light moved through the crystal caught his attention. It wasn't random. "It consumes energy," he said quietly. One of the officials spoke up. "Yes, it absorbs radiation, heat, light. Some think it's just an animal feeding. Others think it's intelligent." "And if I say no?" asked Taiwan. Director Kang sighed. "Then we have to try something else. Maybe something less peaceful." Taiwan understood. If they couldn't talk to it, they would have to decide if it was a threat. And things that might be threats often ended up destroyed. "When do I leave?" he asked. Relief showed on Director Kang's face. 3 days. We've built a small station that will keep you at a safe distance. Captain Hana will take you there and then return." After the meeting, Captain Hana caught up with Taiwan in the hallway. "You know this is probably a death sentence, right?" she said. Her eyes were concerned. Taiwan nodded. "Maybe, but I saw something in those light patterns. If I'm right, it's trying to talk too, just not in a way we understand yet." "That's what the last team said," she warned. Taiwan smiled slightly. "Good, then I'm not crazy." 3 days later, he stood in the launch bay, one small bag in his hand. The ship that would take him to the Morkoth was ready. Captain Hana gave him a small device, emergency beacon. "If things go bad, press it. We'll come as fast as we can." Taiwan put it in his pocket. They both knew that as fast as we can would be too late if the Morkoth decided to attack. "See you soon, Captain," he said. As the ship took off, Taiwan watched Earth get smaller. In his mind, he kept seeing the beautiful, dangerous crystal waiting for him. Everyone said it would kill them. He wasn't so sure. The small station floated in space, a metal box barely big enough for one person. Inside, Taiwan looked through the large window. The Morkoth hung in the darkness 5 miles away, its crystal body shining like a frozen rainbow. "Station secured," Captain Hana's voice came through the radio. "All systems green. Are you sure about this, Lieutenant?" Taiwan watched the Morkoth. It did not move, but light shifted inside it like slow waves. "Unsure, Captain. You can head back now." There was a pause. "Good luck," she said finally. "Remember the beacon." Tai-1 watched her ship grow smaller until it was just a dot of light. Then he was alone with the alien. For 3 days, Tai-1 did what others had done before. He sent math patterns, light signals, and radio messages. The Morkoth did not respond. It did not move closer or away. It just floated, silent. On the 4th day, Tai-1 stopped sending messages. Instead, he watched. He noticed how the light moved inside the crystal body. He recorded every shift and change. He began to see a pattern. "It's not random," he said to himself. That night, he couldn't sleep. An idea kept him awake. What if the Morkoth didn't want to talk? What if it just wanted to eat? The next morning, Tai-1 changed his plan. He aimed the station's energy panels at the Morkoth. These panels usually collected solar energy. Now he made them send out energy instead. "Let's see if you're hungry," he said. He sent a burst of radiation toward the alien. Not harmful radiation, but the kind that stars naturally make. For a long moment, nothing happened. Then the Morkoth moved. Tai-1's heart jumped. The giant crystal turned slowly, one side facing the station directly. The lights inside it grew brighter, then dimmer, like breathing. "Command, this is Kim," he called on the radio. "The Morkoth is responding." Director Kang's voice came back, worried. "What's happening? Are you in danger?" "No," said Tai-1. I think it's eating." "Eating what?" asked Director Kang. "The energy I'm sending it." The radio was silent for a long time. Then, "Get out of there, Lieutenant. Now." Tai-1 looked at the Morkoth. The lights inside it had formed a new pattern, faster and more complex. "No," he said. "I'm making progress." "That's an order," shouted Director Kang. Previous teams reported energy drain before contact was lost. It's not eating what you're giving it. It's getting ready to take everything. Tai-1 turned off the radio. He knew the risk, but something told him he was right. The previous teams had been afraid. They had run when the Morkoth approached. What if it had just been curious or hungry? He turned up the energy output. More radiation flowed toward the alien. The Morkoth's lights swirled faster. Then it moved closer. Tai-1's hands shook, but he did not run. The Morkoth stopped 1 mile away, close enough that it filled his whole window. Beautiful, terrible. "Hello," Tai-1 said, even though it couldn't hear him. "Are you still hungry?" He tried something new. He changed the type of radiation, making it pulse like the patterns he had seen inside the crystal. Slow, then fast. Dim, then bright. The Morkoth's lights changed to match his pattern. Then they changed again, making a new pattern. Tai-1 smiled. It wasn't just eating. It was answering. For hours, he sent different patterns. The Morkoth responded each time with its own light show. Sometimes it moved closer, sometimes further away. But it never left. When Tai-1 finally slept that night, the Morkoth hung just outside his window, its lights dancing slowly. In the morning, it was still there, waiting. Tai-1 turned the radio back on. "Command, this is Kim. I'm alive, and I have news." "What happened?" Director Kang sounded surprised to hear his voice. "I fed the beast," said Tai-1, "and it didn't kill me." 2 weeks passed. Every day, Tai-1 sent energy patterns to the Morkoth. Every day, the crystal being responded with its own light shows. Tai-1 kept careful notes of each exchange. The small station had become his home. Food containers were stacked neatly. Charts and drawings covered the walls. On his bed lay a worn book of poetry his mother had given him years ago. Day 15. Tai-1 spoke into his recorder. "The Morkoth now waits for me to send the morning pattern before it moves into position." He looked out the window. The giant crystal had moved closer over the days. Now it floated just half a mile away. When the station lights were off, the Morkoth's glow filled the room with soft blue and purple light. The radio crackled. "Lieutenant Kim, this is Director Kang. Report your status." Tai-1 sighed. These calls came every day now. Always worried, always doubtful. "Status normal, sir. The Morkoth remains peaceful." "Define peaceful," said Director Kang. "It's half a mile from your position. Previous ships were destroyed at that range." Tai-1 turned to his charts. "Previous ships tried to scan it or take samples. I'm just feeding it energy patterns." There was a pause. "A rescue ship is on standby," said the director. "Captain Hana can be there in 3 days if needed." "Not needed, sir. We're making progress." Another voice came on the radio. A woman Tai-1 didn't know. "Lieutenant, this is Dr. Sun from Xenobiology. Are you certain the creature isn't just studying you before it attacks?" Tai-1 watched the lights inside the Morkoth shift into a new pattern, one he had seen before. "It's had 2 weeks to attack, Doctor. I think it wants something else." "And what is that?" asked Dr. Sun. Tai-1 smiled. "A conversation." After the call ended, Tai-1 returned to his work. He had created a pattern he called greeting. Every morning, he sent it to the Morkoth. Today, he decided to change it slightly. He added a new pulse of energy at the end, like a question mark. The Morkoth's lights flickered rapidly. Then it moved closer, stopping just 1,000 feet from the station. Closer than ever before. Tai-1's heart raced, but he stayed calm. He sent the greeting pattern again, with the same question at the end. The Morkoth's response was new. Its lights formed a spiral that moved from the center outward. Then it repeated Tai-1's pattern exactly, including the question pulse. "You're learning," whispered Tai-1. That night, an urgent call came from Earth. Director Kang's face appeared on the video screen, his expression serious. "Lieutenant, we've reviewed your reports. The science team believes you're in danger." "I disagree, sir," said Tai-1. "The Morkoth's behavior matches what happened before the Kelvin was lost," continued the director. "It moved closer, showed increased light activity, then attacked." "The Kelvin tried to take samples," said Tai-1. "I'm just talking." Director Kang shook his head. "Captain Hana is on her way with the security team. You are ordered to prepare for evacuation." Tai-1 felt cold fear. Not for himself, but for what might happen. "Sir, please. If armed ships arrive, it might see it as a threat." "The decision is made," said Director Kang. "Hana will arrive in 3 days. Be ready." The connection ended. Tai-1 looked out at the Morkoth, now glowing softly in the darkness. 3 days. He had 3 days to prove it wasn't dangerous. He turned to his charts again, searching for a pattern that might mean friend. He had to make the Morkoth understand before Hana arrived with weapons. Outside the window, the giant crystal being began to pulse with a new light pattern. Slow, steady, like a heartbeat, waiting for his response. Tai-1 took a deep breath and began to work. 3 days wasn't much time to prevent a war. Day 67 began like the others. Tai-1 sent his morning energy pattern to the Morkoth. But today, something changed. Instead of mirroring his pattern, the Morkoth created an entirely new sequence of light and energy. Complex, beautiful, and unlike anything Tai-1 had seen before. "What are you trying to tell me?" he whispered. He checked his equipment. The sensors showed unusual energy readings coming from the crystal being. Not dangerous, but different. The Morkoth was sending out waves of radiation in controlled bursts. Tai-1's hands moved quickly over his control panel. He adjusted his sensors to record every detail of the new pattern. "This isn't random," he said to himself. "This is language." For hours, the Morkoth continued its display. Light danced through its crystal body in spirals and waves. Energy pulses came in groups of 3, then 5, then 3 again. Tai-1 barely noticed when his alarm beeped. It was a reminder that Captain Hana's ship would arrive the next day. He had less than 24 hours to prove the Morgoth was trying to communicate. He sent a message to Earth. Command, this is Kim. The Morgoth is sending complex energy patterns. I believe it's attempting to communicate. Director Kang responded quickly. Lieutenant, we've been monitoring. Our analysis team sees no meaningful pattern. Just random energy bursts. They're not random, insisted Ta-1. Look at the groups of 3 and 5. They repeat in different combinations. Like a language, said a new voice. It was Dr. Sun from Xenobiology. Yes, said Ta-1. Exactly like a language. There was a long pause. Then Director Kang spoke again. Even if you're right, Lieutenant, we can't risk it. Captain Hana will arrive tomorrow as planned. The connection ended. Ta-1 looked out at the Morgoth, still glowing with its message. He had come so far. He couldn't give up now. An idea came to him. If the Morgoth was truly intelligent, perhaps it could learn faster than anyone thought. Ta-1 created a new energy pattern, simple but clear. He sent 3 pulses, paused, then 5 pulses, paused, then 3 again. Exactly matching part of the Morgoth's message. The crystal being went still. Its internal lights froze. For a terrible moment, Ta-1 thought he had made a mistake. Then the Morgoth burst into brilliant light. It sent the same pattern back, 353, but added 2 more pulses at the end. Ta-1 laughed out loud. He sent the pattern again, this time adding the 2 extra pulses the Morgoth had shown him. The response came immediately. The same pattern, but now with 3 new pulses at the end. It's a game, realized Ta-1. You're teaching me to count. He worked through the night, exchanging patterns with the Morgoth. By morning, he had recorded over 50 distinct energy signatures and their apparent meanings. When his radar beeped, warning of an approaching ship, Ta-1 was ready. He opened a channel to Captain Hana's vessel. Captain, this is Lieutenant Kim. Approach slowly. The Morgoth is not hostile. We can see it on our screens, replied Hana. Her voice was tense. It's far too close to your station. It's talking to me, said Ta-1. I've decoded part of its language. The security team is ready, said Hana. Director Kang wants you out of there now. Ta-1 looked at the Morgoth. It had stopped its light show and was turning slowly toward the approaching ship. Tell them to power down weapons, said Ta-1 urgently. The Morgoth can sense energy. It might see armed ships as a threat. That's not my call, Lieutenant, said Hana. We'll be there in 30 minutes. Be ready to leave. The connection ended. Ta-1 turned back to the window. The Morgoth was moving now, positioning itself between his station and Captain Hana's approaching ship. Ta-1 had 30 minutes to prevent a disaster. Ta-1 watched the radar screen. Captain Hana's ship was 20 minutes away. The Morgoth had stopped sending its counting patterns. Now it just waited, its lights pulsing slowly like a heartbeat. He had to do something. Ta-1 opened the emergency channel. Director Kang, please respond. The director's tired face appeared on the screen. Lieutenant, Captain Hana reports that the Morgoth has moved into a defensive position. It's not defensive, sir. It's protective. Of me. Director Kang frowned. That's a nice thought, Lieutenant, but we can't take that risk. Sir, I've made real progress. The Morgoth is intelligent. It's been teaching me its language. So you say. The director looked off screen, speaking to someone Ta-1 couldn't see. When he turned back, his voice was firm. Captain Hana has been authorized to use necessary force if the Morgoth shows any aggressive movement. Ta-1 felt cold fear. Sir, please, that would be a terrible mistake. The connection ended before he could say more. Ta-1 looked out at the giant crystal being. It had protected him. Now he needed to protect it. He made a decision. Moving quickly, Ta-1 went to the small airlock where the station's maintenance pod was kept. The pod was meant for fixing the outside of the station. It was little more than a seat with thrusters, but it would have to do. Taiwan put on his spacesuit and climbed into the pod. His hand shook as he checked the oxygen levels. Enough for 3 hours. He hoped that would be enough. The airlock opened, and Taiwan guided the small pod out into space. The vastness around him was both beautiful and frightening. Ahead floated the Morkoth, its crystal body shimmering. Behind it, a small dot of light grew larger. Captain Hana's ship. "Lieutenant Kim, what are you doing?" Captain Hana's voice came through his helmet radio. She sounded angry. "Creating a buffer," he replied. He moved the pod between Hana's approaching ship and the Morkoth. "Return to your station immediately," ordered Hana. "That's a direct order." Taiwan took a deep breath. "I can't do that, Captain. Not until you power down your weapons." There was a pause. "How did you know our weapons were active?" "Because the Morkoth is reacting to them. It can sense energy, remember." Taiwan looked at the Morkoth. Its lights had changed, becoming faster and more chaotic. It was afraid, he realized, or angry, or both. He had minutes before Hana's ship would be in range. Not enough time to explain everything he had learned. He needed to show them. Taiwan adjusted the pod's energy output. He began sending the pattern he believed meant peace or friend toward both the Morkoth and Hana's ship. "What are you doing, Lieutenant?" asked Hana. "Translating," said Taiwan. "Watch the Morkoth." The great crystal being had gone still. Then its lights began to form the same pattern Taiwan was sending. "Peace. Friend. Are you seeing this?" Taiwan asked. "We see it," said Hana. Her voice was quieter now. "But Director Kang still wants you back on the station." Taiwan kept sending the peace pattern. "Tell the director that I'm making first contact. Real contact. Ask him if he wants to be remembered as the man who destroyed that chance." The radio went silent. Taiwan continued his work, adding new patterns, showing the Morkoth that Hana's ship was not a threat. Then something unexpected happened. The Morkoth moved toward him, not slowly, as it had before, but quickly. "Lieutenant, get out of there," shouted Hana. But Taiwan didn't move. He trusted the Morkoth. He had to. The giant crystal surrounded his tiny pod. Light filled his vision, bright and overwhelming. For a moment, Taiwan thought he had made a terrible mistake. Then the light changed. It formed shapes and patterns unlike anything he had seen before. The Morkoth wasn't attacking him. It was showing him something new. Light surrounded Taiwan, not the harsh light of an attack, but soft waves of color that flowed around his small pod. He could no longer see space or stars or Captain Hana's ship. Only light. "Lieutenant Kim, respond." Captain Hana's voice in his helmet sounded far away. "What's happening?" "I'm inside the Morkoth," said Taiwan. His voice was calm despite his racing heart. "I'm safe." "Safe? It swallowed you." "Not swallowed. Invited." Taiwan watched as the light formed shapes, circles and lines that moved like water. "It's beautiful in here." The radio crackled. Director Kang's voice replaced Hana's. "Lieutenant, we're getting strange readings from your location. Your pod is intact, but it's completely surrounded by the crystal structure." "Yes, sir. I believe the Morkoth is trying to show me something." As if responding to his words, the light patterns changed. They began to form images. Taiwan saw stars and planets he didn't recognize. He saw strange shapes that might be ships. He saw light beings that moved like fish in a sea of energy. Then he understood. "Sir, the Morkoth isn't one creature. It's billions of tiny crystal organisms working together, like a colony." "How do you know that?" asked the director. "It's showing me, through light and energy." The images changed again. Now Taiwan saw human ships approaching the Morkoth. He saw energy beams scanning the crystal. He saw the Morkoth reaching out, trying to surround the ships. Not to attack, to communicate. "Sir, I know what happened to the other ships," said Taiwan. The Morgoth tried to communicate with them the way it's doing with me now, but they thought they were being attacked. They fought back. And the Morgoth destroyed them, said Director Kang. No, sir. The ships destroyed themselves. Their weapons were too powerful, too close to their own hulls. Taiwan watched as the light showed him images of ships firing weapons. The energy bounced off the crystal surface, back toward the ships. Explosions. Silence. It never wanted to hurt anyone, said Taiwan softly. It was trying to talk the only way it knew how. The director was quiet for a long moment. If what you're saying is true, why did it respond to your energy patterns when nothing else worked? Because I wasn't trying to study it or scan it. I was feeding it, giving it energy freely. Taiwan smiled. It was like offering food to a stranger. The light around Taiwan formed new shapes. Now he saw Earth, then human cities full of people. The Morgoth was curious about humans. Sir, the Morgoth is a collective mind. It thinks and feels as one being made of billions of parts. Our math and formal language don't make sense to it, but energy and emotion do. Are you saying it feels emotions? Asked the director. He sounded doubtful. Yes. Right now, it feels curiosity and hope. Light swirled faster around the pod. Images came and went. Stars being born. Planets forming. Galaxies spinning. The Morgoth was showing Taiwan its knowledge of the universe. Sir, the Morgoth has seen things we can only dream about. It's traveled between stars, maybe between galaxies, and it wants to share what it knows. How can we be sure it's not tricking you? Asked Director Kang. Taiwan looked at the beautiful display of light and color all around him, because it could have killed me 100 times. Instead, it's been trying to learn my language while teaching me its own. The radio was silent again. Then Captain Hana spoke. Lieutenant, we're holding position. What do you want us to do? Taiwan smiled. For the first time, they were asking him what to do. Power down your weapons, he said. And watch. I think the Morgoth is ready to talk to all of us now. Hours passed as Taiwan floated inside the crystal world of the Morgoth. His small pod was still intact, but he no longer needed it. The Morgoth had shown him how to communicate directly through his mind. Their thoughts flowed together like rivers joining. On Captain Hana's ship, the crew waited anxiously. Their weapons were powered down as Taiwan had asked, but they remained alert. It's been 5 hours, said Captain Hana to Director Kang on the video screen. Should we attempt to extract him? The director looked troubled. Lieutenant Kim believes he's safe. Let's give him more time. Inside the Morgoth, Taiwan learned the truth about the crystal being. It was ancient, millions of years old. It had traveled through the darkness between stars, learning and growing. It had met other beings, some like itself, others very different. Why Earth? Taiwan asked in his mind. Why did you come here? The Morgoth answered with images and feelings. Curiosity, interest, loneliness. You were looking for someone to talk to, realized Taiwan. Yes, for a long time, the Morgoth had searched for minds that could understand it. Many species feared it because of its size and strange form. Others tried to use it for energy or resources. The Morgoth had learned to be careful. When it found Earth, it sensed many active minds. Human thoughts were small but bright, like stars. The Morgoth was drawn to them. But why did you destroy the ships we sent? Asked Taiwan. The Morgoth showed him again what had happened. It hadn't destroyed the ships. It had tried to connect with them, to bring them inside itself like it had done with Taiwan's pod. But the humans inside were afraid. They used weapons that damaged the Morgoth's crystal body. The energy bounced back, destroying the ships. So you were trying to talk to them, not hurt them, said Taiwan. Yes, the Morgoth had been sad and confused when the humans ran away or attacked. It didn't understand why they feared it. Then Taiwan came. He was the first to offer energy freely, to feed the Morgoth without asking for anything in return. And that's why you didn't hurt me, said Taiwan. The Morgoth sent feelings of warmth and agreement. Taiwan was a friend, the first human friend. I need to tell the others, said Taiwan. They need to understand you're not dangerous. The Morgoth agreed. It began to move, carrying Taiwan's pod back toward the outside. The light around him faded, and space appeared again. Stars shone in the darkness. Captain Hana's ship waited nearby. Taiwan's radio came to life. Lieutenant, are you all right? It was Captain Hana. I'm fine, said Taiwan. Better than fine. I understand now. His pod floated free of the Morgoth, which hovered behind him like a glittering guardian. What happened in there? Asked Director Kang. Taiwan took a deep breath. Sir, everything we thought about the Morgoth was wrong. It never wanted to hurt us. It's been trying to make friends. Friends? The director sounded doubtful. Yes, sir. It's traveled across the galaxy looking for other intelligent life. It came to Earth because it sensed our minds, our thoughts. Captain Hana spoke up. Why did it trap you inside itself? It wasn't a trap, Captain. It was an invitation. The Morgoth communicates by sharing thoughts and images directly. It needed to bring me inside to show me the truth. Director Kang was silent for a moment. And you believe it poses no threat to Earth? No threat at all, sir. In fact, it wants to help us. It has knowledge about the universe that would take us centuries to discover on our own. The Morgoth began to glow behind Taiwan's pod. Its lights formed a new pattern, one that all the watching humans could see. A pattern of greeting, of peace. Sir, said Taiwan, I think the Morgoth is ready to say hello to all of humanity. 3 days later, Taiwan sat in a crowded meeting room on Earth. Scientists, military officers, and government officials filled every seat. Director Kang stood at the front, his face serious as he addressed the group. As you all know, Lieutenant Kim has made contact with the entity we call the Morgoth. He has returned to share what he has learned. All eyes turned to Taiwan. He looked different now, thinner with dark circles under his eyes. But he also looked calm and sure of himself. Thank you, Director, said Taiwan as he stood up. What I learned inside the Morgoth changes everything we thought we knew. He touched a small device on the table. A hologram appeared, showing the crystal being in space. The Morgoth is not one creature, but billions of tiny crystal organisms that think and act as one mind. They've existed for millions of years, traveling through space, learning about the universe. A scientist raised her hand. How can you be sure it wasn't tricking you? Because I've created a translation system, said Taiwan. He held up another device, a small box with lights. This converts our language into energy patterns the Morgoth can understand, and its patterns into words we can understand. He turned on the device. Light patterns flowed across it, and a soft voice came from the speakers. Greetings, people of Earth. We have waited long to speak with you. The room went silent. Then everyone began talking at once. Director Kang had to shout for order. Is that really the Morgoth speaking? He asked. Taiwan nodded. It's in orbit around Earth's moon right now. The translation isn't perfect, but it works. Ask it why it came here, said Captain Hana, who sat in the front row. Taiwan spoke into the device. They want to know why you came to our solar system. The lights flashed, and the voice answered. We search for others who think, who feel, who question. Your minds shine bright in the darkness. Dr. Sun, the xenobiologist, leaned forward with wide eyes. What has it seen in its travels? Taiwan asked, and the Morgoth's answer made everyone lean closer. We have seen stars born and die, planets form from dust, life grow in many forms on many worlds. We have met 17 thinking species before yours. The questions continued for hours. The Morgoth told them about distant stars and strange worlds. It explained how it traveled through space using energy fields. It described other intelligent beings it had met over millions of years. Some of what it's telling us would take our science centuries to discover on our own, said one of the scientists in awe. Finally, Director Kang asked the question everyone feared. Does it want something from us? Taiwan translated, and the Morgoth's answer was simple. We want friendship, exchange of knowledge. We are old and have seen much. You are young and see things we do not. Together, we can learn. Later, as the meeting ended, Director Kang pulled Taiwan aside. When I sent you to that station, I thought I was sending you to your death, he admitted. Taiwan smiled. Everyone did. What made you keep going? Keep feeding it energy, even when we all warned you. Taiwan thought for a moment. I saw something in its light patterns. Not hunger or anger. Loneliness. It reminded me of myself. Director Kang nodded slowly. The president wants to establish a permanent communication center, a place where we can talk with the Morgoth regularly. And who will run this center? Asked Taiwan. Who do you think? Director Kang almost smiled. The beast trusts you. And now, so do we. 6 months later, the small space station where Taiwan had first made contact with the Morgoth was gone. In its place floated a large gleaming complex called Harmony Station. It was the busiest place in Earth's solar system. Taiwan stood by the main viewing window, watching as shuttles came and went. Some carried scientists eager to learn from the Morgoth. Others brought diplomats from countries all over Earth. The station had become the most important meeting place between humans and non-humans. Dr. Kim, they're ready for you in the main hall, said a young assistant. Taiwan smiled at his new title. After his success with the Morgoth, Earth Command had given him a promotion and a new job leading the communication team. The main hall was packed with people. In the center floated a small part of the Morgoth, a crystal piece that had separated from the main body to live on the station. It glowed with gentle blue light. Good morning, everyone, said Taiwan. Today marks 6 months since we established Harmony Station. The crowd applauded. Among them sat Captain Hana, now Admiral Hana, in charge of security for all alien contact missions. She nodded at Taiwan with respect in her eyes. We have learned so much from our friend, continued Taiwan, gesturing to the crystal being. The Morgoth has shared knowledge that has helped us improve our energy systems, our space travel, and our understanding of the universe. The translation device on the table lit up as the Morgoth spoke. And we have learned much from humans. Your art, your music, your emotions. These are treasures we had not found elsewhere in our travels. A door opened, and Director Kang entered. He had aged in the past months, his hair whiter, but his eyes were bright with excitement. Dr. Kim, he said, shaking Taiwan's hand. The president sends her regrets that she couldn't be here today, but she asked me to give you this. He handed Taiwan a small box. Inside was a medal, the highest honor a civilian could receive. For your courage and vision, read Director Kang from a small card. You changed how humanity sees the universe. Taiwan accepted the medal with humble thanks. Then he turned to address the crowd again. When I first went to meet the Morgoth, everyone told me it would kill me. They said it was a beast, a monster from space. But I found a teacher, a friend. The lights dimmed, and the Morgoth began to glow brighter. Its crystal body created beautiful patterns on the walls, like a light show. The techniques we developed to speak with the Morgoth have helped us improve communication with all 7 other alien species we know, said Taiwan. We now understand that true communication isn't just about words or math. It's about finding common ground, no matter how different we seem. Later, after the ceremony ended, Taiwan stood alone with the crystal being. They didn't need the translation device anymore. He had spent so much time with the Morgoth that they could communicate with just patterns of light. They called you a beast, Taiwan said softly. They thought you would kill me. The Morgoth glowed warmly. Its light formed patterns that Taiwan now understood as laughter. Many fear what they do not understand, the Morgoth replied. But you fed me when others ran. You gave freely when others took. You listened when others spoke. I just saw something in your light, said Taiwan. Something familiar. The Morcuth's glow pulsed gently. Yes, though we look nothing alike, we share the most important thing. What's that? Asked Ta-One. The crystal light formed one simple pattern, one that Ta-One had come to know well. Curiosity, it answered. The desire to understand, to connect. That is the true language of the stars.